river season. Can only mean one thing: Lincolnshire drain. This is the swim. Hasn't been cut out yet. Weed levels on the top of the surface, just by looking at it, look good. Let's get a chop in and we'll see what it looks like when I've finished. There's stage 1 completed. Didn't take long. Stage 2, kill them reeds out the water and rake the swim. What an evening. Look at that sky. Sun's about to set. Swim's virtually all prepped. See my rake still in there, I'm still going a bit. You'll recognise this from my piking videos. As I said, it's my favourite fishery by a country mile. Let's hope it produces tomorrow, well tonight. Look at it. That sky. Reflections on the water, look. Had a good rake out. Plenty of invertebrate, molluscs, all sorts. Swan mussels. They went back, of course. But you know, it's alive with natural food. Yeah, so we've virtually done all the raking now, so we're going to put some bait in, set up the gear, and well, do a bit of fishing maybe, or not maybe about it, do a bit of night fishing. Want to be on here first light for the Tench. So, good evening troops. The intention was just to come out and rake the swim. I had all my gear with me, just in case, you know what I'm like. Can't resist. Yeah, so I started raking it and I thought, what's the point of going home at 10, 11 o'clock and then getting up at 2? I might as well stay here. Be fully prepped and raring to go first thing. So let's get this swim sorted. So it's been 2 hours now, and then probably another half hour, 45 minutes of prepping the swim up. Then should be ready to fish. You know, I'll have to do this. Quite a few of the drains I visit early season, none of them have swims cut out normally. It's very rare that I walk straight into a swim early doors, so yeah, we're going to be off and running, hopefully with some good content. Local fishing, plenty of drains, plenty of action hopefully, plenty of big specimen fish. And some days it'll be just tiddler bashing, because sometimes I like doing that. I just like to turn up with a pole on the way to work sometimes and fish with corn and see if I can catch some roach and rudd on the way. But we'll see. Let's get cracking. Well troops, It's almost dark. Got everything sorted, just got to put some bait in, leave it half hour, fish over the top. It'll be the old float fish. I'll be waggler fishing I think tonight with a starlight on. I'll run through the gear with you in the morning when it's light and we're fishing proper. But yeah, I'm gonna have a little crack of a night session, hopefully. By first light, the tench and the big roach and rudd have moved in. That's the plan anyway. Good job I'm not scared of the dark. What a racket. Well, I resisted the urge to put in a baited hook during the night. I wanted the swim to settle and the fish to get their heads down and start feeding on the spot. Hopefully, that's the plan. It's almost 4 o'clock now. I've been fishing for about 15 minutes. Have one lift bite. I'll go for the rig with you once it's brightened up a bit. As I say, it's just getting light. The bats have all but disappeared. They were putting on a nice display in the night sky for me. Got the dawn chorus now. Bit of cloud blowing in. A bit of a breeze, but it's not in this swim at the moment. I'll run for a swim with you properly once it gets light, but yep, so first session on a Lincolnshire drain of the summer, 4 AM. Let's see if we can catch some tench. Morning troops, another day, another drain. Been here all night, so didn't fish all night though. I break the swim out, put my bait in. I was all ready, 11 o'clock. Thought I'd give it swim an hour, and now I was intending to fish. But then I thought, well, do I really want to put a baited hook in straight away? Well, you can once you've raked a swim on one of these drains. You can catch fish half hour after you've raked. I'll put a bed of bait down, so I didn't want to disturb anything. So I've been fishing about an hour. No joy. Thought I'd run through my gear with you, what I use on this type of fishing, what I do on a drain. Yes, it's another day, another drain. We're on a free stretch. You'll probably recognise it if you've seen some of my piking videos. When I fish here in the winter, it's 18 inches to 2.5 foot deep at the most. And during the summer, it's that sort of depth in the margin. So I'm fishing in about 4.5 foot of water. the bottom undulates a little bit, not huge, but you know, you could be fishing in 4 foot of water, and 2 foot to the right or 2 foot to the left. You could be fishing in 4.5 to 5 foot of water. You know, it's like that, but it's comfortable fishing. It's not very wide, it's not very deep. It can be gin clear, and it looks quite clear at the moment. There's good break, sometimes clouds it up. Put some ground bait down, put some party mix down, some tears and some corn, and I'm all raring to go. So I'll run through this gear with you now and show you what I've been using. The business end, single size 14 hook. Little bit of a gap to large weight, and you'll see why I use a large weight. I don't like, this is a natural moving water, I don't like to have too much shot patterns going up and down the line collecting debris. So I have one oversized shot at the bottom because I'm going to fish the lift method, and I'll show you that now. Very light peacock quill type float attached at the bottom with float rubber. That's it. That's all I have in the water. I don't want any interference. I don't want anything too complicated. And that is 2.5 inches to 3 inches over depth. So any bites would be a lift method. You say any bites would be a lift method, but you all know as well as me, it doesn't work out like that. Sometimes that will go under. But 9 times out of 10 I'll get a lift bite, and I'll, you know, and I will hit into it. So that's how I fish it. Lift method. But today, single grain of corn. Most of the time I only fish corn, bread, worms. I do fish with maggots, but I'm normally fishing for a better stamp of fish, and I find with maggots on these drains you get plagued with bootlace eels, skimmers, all sorts. So I tend to go with corn as my number one go-to bait. It seems to sort out the better fish. Rod wise, that's a Drennan 13 foot red float rod. It's what you expect from a modern rod. I like Drennan rods. It's lightweight, the action's great, it casts great. There's nothing I don't like about this rod. The reel, say I'm drain fishing. I haven't got cast great distances. It's a Shimano Hiker Loop. Lovely little reels for float fishing, even for leisure fishing. The problem is they don't come with a spare spool, so I've got about 5 of these reels, and it's loaded with 6 pound mono. Now, ooh, 6 pound mono, float fishing, you know, so I know, but I'm fishing for tench, and I'm fishing for large bream along here, and you fish with 2 pound bottom, 2.5 pound bottom, you're going to get snapped up virtually every time you hit a decent fish. So yeah, that float reel, you call it leisure reel, you call it match reel, whatever you want to call it, that's the most important bit of kit for me on this fishing, this type of fishing, and it's the clutch on it. It's got to be set right, because I know a lot of people think, oh, snotty bream, they don't fight very well. I'm telling you now, you hook into a tench, any tench on here, or a half decent bream, you're fishing at close range, you're fishing shallow, and these fish are used to fighting strong currents in here sometimes, and I tell you, they pull, and you could get bumped off quite a lot with the initial lunge. So the clutch is normally set dead right, he says, but you know as well as I do, Doesn't matter what you do during the close season, you put that away, the clutch is set perfect. Your first trip of the next season, it's never the same, you've got to readjust it. And as I haven't had a fish yet, I think it's right, but yeah, so that's my bit of kit. So I fish lift method, single grain of corn today, and let's hope we can catch some. Right, now it's daylight, let's run through the swim with you. Here it is, it's the winter pike, it's one of my winter pike fishing swims. It can be very productive for tench, bream and rudd along here. And what I normally do, not always, nothing's set in stone. There it is, halfway across, hard on the bottom, lift method, single grain of corn, and I'll fish that way for the first couple of hours after the tench. And a big brink. Sometimes once the sun gets up and you've missed your opportunity, that's when tactics can change. What I normally do is I normally have a pole rig set up and I fish exactly the same spot, but this time I go down to a single grain of corn, smaller single grain of corn I should say, 16 hook, and I fish on the drop. And I'll always catch rudd on that method along here. That keeps you ticking over catching fish while the tench and the bream go missing. Another productive method on here. Here's the far bank. Just off those reeds. Not tight to them, it's too weedy in there. Just off them, small cage feeder, any bait you prefer, and you'll normally take fish regularly on there as well. I very rarely fish close in to this bank, because I say the water is gin clear and you'll be spooking the fish. Can't see it because of the reflection at the moment. But that's it. It's, you know, it's 4.5 foot deep maximum in that centre. Some spots it might go up to 5, but no, you know, it's not the deepest of drains, not the widest of drains. But boy, can it produce a good fish when it wants to. Morning troops, as you can see, sun out's out. Still only 7 AM. The wind's pushing through now. Blue skies. Not a cloud in the sky. Sun's out, full blast, and the water's gin clear. Absolutely gin clear. So I think I've missed my chance with the tench. I'm going to fish till 10 o'clock for the tench. That sun's over the far bank now, so yeah, could be flipping a dead horse, but I'll stick it at it till about 10 o'clock. If I ain't had a tench by then, I shall change tactics, get the pole out, fish on the drop, size 16, even maybe even size 18, small bits of corn, and fish on the drop for them, see if there's any roach or rudd around. Normally that's not a bad tactic in the sunlight, but yeah, it's not really tench weather really, so oh well. I say, see, I mean, sometimes you make decisions and I made a bad one. See, but last night, instead of leaving the swim to settle and everything, I should have just fished over the top of it in the dark. Probably would have caught a few at night, but oh well. Take your gamble, didn't you? So, yep, 7 AM, and it's, you know, it's looks like it can be a real scorcher. Not to say it's not a cloud in the sky, the water is gin clear. We had a fair bit of rain Saturday, so I was hoping there was a bit of colour in it, but won't to be. But still, natural venues, that's what you've got to do. You've got to swap, change, try different tactics, adapt to the situation, you know. All these things change the way your bait lies, change the way your indication works, all sorts. So it's a disappointment because, you know, I wanted to catch some tench, but it's not the end of the world either. So we'll crack on. So if we only, as I say, if we only had any tench by 10 o'clock, then it's a pole out on the drop. See if we can nick some decent rudd, because they are in here. And even not, I don't mind tiddler bashing for a few hours, as long as I catch something. Always nice to get your first blank of the river season under your belt, isn't it? Ah dear, first trip out, conditions are not good, but I would have still expected to catch a few ruds on the drop, but nothing. And the water's gin clear. I mean, it's Monday. We had a good amount of rain Saturday, so I expected it to have a little bit of colour in it, you know, but no, it's gin clear, it's sunny and bright. I ain't going to catch any tench now. Well, I wasn't going to catch any tench at 7 o'clock this morning, as soon as I realised. Sometimes with a natural venue, you should really cut your losses. What I should have done is just said, oh well, you know, it's not going to produce here, and I should have packed up at 7, and I could have gone to a drain I know that's got plenty of colour in it always. So, you know, it's hindsight's a wonderful thing. You know, I've had 2 tentative lift bites, and that's it. And I mean, they were tentative. You know, you can't tell though. With the lift method, you can't tell from the bite whether it's a half-inch roach or whether it's a 7-pound tench. You know, the bites are pretty much the same. So, you know, yeah, it's been a hard day. I mean, there's plenty of fry in there. The water quality is good, but I'm not going to catch here. without water that clear and the conditions this bright. I mean, I'd probably, you know, if I sat here, it's 11:30 there. If I sat here till 11:30 at night, you know, the last 2 hours, I'd probably catch. But do I want to be sat next to a drain for 24 hours? Not really. You know, don't get me wrong, I love it, but you know, I've been here since 8 o'clock yesterday evening. I've had 2 bites. Sometimes you just got to knock it on the head, call it quits, and have to go another day. I mean, I'm not, you know, I might go out tomorrow evening for a few hours somewhere. I might even come here. But yeah, so got an hour and a half to catch a fish, then I'm packing up. The blanking king strikes again. Oh dear.